The big takeaway from the verdict that was delivered by the Supreme Court earlier in the day, there would be no independent investigation. Supreme Court reaffirms its faith on the investigation that has been carried out by the SEBI. In fact, 3 months' time has been given to SEBI to complete its investigation. Not just that, the government of India as well as SEBI have now been instructed to essentially look into whether at all there has been malafide intention as far as Hindenburg is concerned. Remember, the report that was published back in January 2023 essentially resulted in massive losses on the part of Adani Group of companies. Thereafter, there was a growing clamour that they should be investigated. So much so, SEBI was instructed to look into the allegations, whether at all there was any fair price manipulation. Did the Adani Group of companies jack up their shares? All of this and much more was being investigated by SEBI. But thereafter, there was a campaign that was carried out by Western media outlets, and not just that, there were also third parties who were far more interested to basically bring down the Adani Group of companies. What thereafter happened was SEBI was given the specific instruction to look into all these allegations. So far, a preliminary report has already come, but large number of allegations have been looked into by SEBI, but at least there are 2 more matters which are yet to be completed, which the Supreme Court has now asked SEBI to complete within the next 3 months. But despite that, politics still continues on over this entire matter. So much so, today the Congress party went a step ahead, questioned the very fact that the Supreme Court perhaps has been extremely lenient as far as SEBI is concerned. Not just that, joining the bandwagon was also the left parties criticizing the very fact that it is now clear there would be no independent investigation. It would not be transferred to an SIT, but it would be SEBI that would be looking into all the allegations that have been leveled against the Adani Group of companies. The latest statement has been now put out by CPM. We'll be putting out details of the statement that has been put out, once again questioning the verdict of the Supreme Court. Pretty much what we have seen that a cabal has been doing all this while over the last 1 month, not only raising questions about the fact that with regards to questions about the operations of Adani Group of companies, but also their alleged political links. Joining us on this broadcast is our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor. Abhishek, today the Supreme Court has made it abundantly clear. The matter will be investigated by SEBI. Hindenburg's intentions would also be probed by SEBI as well as the government of India. It does appear that few political parties are extremely unhappy with the decision given out by the Supreme Court, and it does not really go down well because it does not fall in sync with what the political parties have been demanding.
Shravan, it's a case of hypocrisy, it's a case of double standard, it's a case of looking London, talking Tokyo, because it could not have been worse insofar as timing is concerned. Because on the one hand, you have Jairam Ramesh panning what the Supreme Court has said today in the Adani Hindenburg case. And then on the other, you have pictures coming out of Telangana, out of Hyderabad, where their Chief Minister Revant Reddy happens to be meeting Karan Adani of the Adani Group and having a long meeting on projects that the Adani Group intends to have in the state. Obviously, because the Congress party is in power, these projects become development projects, and in other states, Adani becomes a scam. That's unfortunate. And also remember, when the CPM releases a statement, their own Chief Minister in Kerala, the only state where they are in power, has no problems whatsoever in Adani having a port project and for the Chief Minister to be getting pictured, photographed, videographed along with the leadership of the Adani Group at the inauguration of the port project. In fact, the CPM government there in Kerala has batted strongly in favor of the port project, going against the protests taking place on the ground. So obviously this is a case of double standards, hypocrisy. So also in the case of Bengal, with Mamata Banerjee having no problems whatsoever in meeting Gautam Adani and letting those projects in the state go on, in fact, strengthen. So I think what we are seeing is the Congress party having different ideas when it comes to their own state government, and a very different position when it comes to panning the center for its association, or for the BJP specifically for its association with the Adani Group, whatever the Congress party means, because it is becoming clear that whenever Congress is in power, for example, the Congress was in power in Maharashtra and there was no problem whatsoever with Adani projects. So I think This is absolutely just a case of double standards being practiced by the Congress party, and unfortunately we have not seen the last of it.
Abhishek, just a quick question before I let you go. For all our viewers who are tuning in right now, to put this into perspective, how it all started. What were the allegations that were basically leveled against the Adani Group of companies about offshore accounts, about fair price manipulation, and why, from the preliminary report that was prepared by SEBI, it almost appeared that a clean sheet was given to Adani Group of companies. Could you help our viewers understand what is it that the SEBI has found out in its preliminary investigation?
All right, so just ahead of the budget last year, the Hindenburg came out with that report, and it made some elements, and those elements are very active in the Supreme Court, for example, and they got petitions in the Supreme Court that there was an element of truth in the Hindenburg report and that it should be investigated. Subsequently, the matter was given to SEBI, and with the Supreme Court monitoring, the Supreme Court Monitoring Committee got out with a report, and they said that this is the status, and subsequently the Supreme Court heard the batch of petitions. Today the order was delivered in which the Supreme Court said that they have very limited role to play in this because this is a matter of subject experts, and SEBI happens to be the regulatory authority. They have, in fact, if you look at it, Shravan, today's order has given a clean sheet to SEBI more than Adani, and that the SEBI is doing a okay job, and it's not whatever they have done in terms of amendments on which the petitioners wanted focus on, which according to them helped Adani Group. That's not the case, and that the amendments brought in by the SEBI post 2018 actually strengthen the regulatory mechanism, is what the Supreme Court has said. And so also, very importantly, one of the observations made by the Supreme Court is that the government and the agencies need to look into whether this was part of a plan, because Hindenburg happens to be a short seller, and it's their business to create a situation where the stock prices of their target group falls, because that's how they make money, by short selling. So was there an element of conspiracy? Was there an element of manipulation at the level of Hindenburg and whosoever backs them? So I think we have not seen the end of it from the government side. Also, this observation itself opens a window from where investigation agencies can pick up the thread beyond what SEBI has done. While the SEBI will continue and give a final report in 3 months, even the agencies like CBI and ED can get in now and see whether there was somebody backing Hindenburg, and Hindenburg, whatever they did at the behest of those who wanted to harm the prospects of the country. So it's going to be interesting. It's not the end of it, and we are going to see possibly one of these agencies picking up threads from that observation made by the topmost court of the country.
Well, thank you very much, Abhishek, for putting this into perspective. Earlier in the day, I also spoke to senior lawyer Siddharth Luthra to try and understand what does the verdict really mean, especially for those who have been relying on newspaper articles and third-party regulators who are they've basically come to some sort of a conclusion even before a thorough investigation that was carried out. Something that the Supreme Court also spoke about. And also, let's not forget that what are the real intentions of Hindenburg, something that Abhishek was really talking about. Let's listen in to what senior lawyer Siddharth Luthra, with whom I spoke earlier in the day, what he had to say on this entire matter.
A PIL is meant to look at the public interest, and the interest of investors is definitely a public interest, and to that extent the Supreme Court, in my view, has passed an appropriate direction, as it ought to have done. Because eventually when you look at these causes, in fact the petitioners also raised the very same cause to say that there is something amiss. Now, whether there was something, the fact is that nothing so far has been found amiss in 20 out of the 22 transactions. In 2, the investigation report is yet to come within 3 months as per the undertaking of the Solicitor General. And once in 20 there is an exoneration, then at least from that aspect it is important to see, were investors harmed? Was there something more behind it, or was it just a simple issue of market movement?
So with regards to the fact that reliance on third party and also newspaper articles, the court came down heavily on this entire matter. Despite that, you would have certain Western media outlets who have spoken about the fact that there is a conflict of interest that ought to be probed. How do you really look at the allegations that have been leveled so far?
I'm really clear that the judgment has spoken now, and the judgment says that judgment has taken a view there is no a conflict of interest, and I think that settles the issue. And therefore, irrespective of what people may say, today there is a judgment of the Supreme Court till it is, assuming it is sought to be reviewed, unless a different view is taken and reviewed, today it is the settled position, and it is not only an interpretation, it is a conclusive finding on the various issues that were raised, including conflict of interest.
Shift focus now to the other story that we have been tracking over the last 24 hours. It does certainly appear to be extremely bizarre, ladies and gentlemen, if 31 years later a case is reopened. And some would say, at least within the Karnataka police, they've been saying that this is a regular procedure. But just think about this. 31 years later, an open warrant is executed by Karnataka police, and you have a car sevak who is arrested. It so turns out the same very person who's been taken into custody by Karnataka police happens to be an auto rickshaw driver, not even participating in any other event when it comes to any particular Hindu outfit, but placed under arrest, produced before the court today. My colleague Prajwal spoke to the family members as well as the lawyer to understand whether at all any such warning was actually given by the Karnataka police, as the Karnataka police has been saying that he was actually absconding for the last several years after that case was registered almost 31 years ago and 28 years after an open warrant was issued against the person. Listening to what the family members had to tell my colleague Prajwal.
आके बोल दिया थोड़ा पॉलिटिशियन के आ जाओ, कोर्ट का तुम्हारा केस है बोल दिया। मेरे को कोर्ट का सामने और क्या तो केस रहे तो दे दो, मैं जाके हाजिर होऊंगा। बोल दिया नहीं, वो देने के लिए नहीं आता, तुमको पॉलिटिशियन से ले जाने का है बोल दिया। बोलने में मैं नहीं आऊँगा, वैसा नहीं आऊँगा बोल दिया। बोलने में नहीं, तुम्हारे को लेके जाए, अरेस्ट कर को लेके जाएंगे। बोलने में देखो कैसा लेके जाते लेके जाओ, मैं तो नहीं आऊँगा बोल दिया। बाद में मैं वो घर में नहीं था, मेरे को फ़ोन पे ये करे कॉन्टेक्ट किए हो, तुम नहीं आए तो तुमको घसट के लेके जाएंगे, वैसा लेके। मैं क्या बोले तो मैं नहीं आऊँगा, लेकिन मेरे को बीपी शुगर और मेरे का ये आँख के दोनों ऑपरेशन हो गए। मेरे को थोड़ा आँखें थोड़ा डिम लगता, उस वैसा रहे तो भी मैं उसको भी बोल रहा हूँ उनको ऐसा हुआ है मेरे को। बोले तो वो क्या भी नहीं, तुम्हारे को आर्डर आया, तुमको ले जाने के बताने वाले हम नहीं आएंगे। बोले मेरे घर पे दो चार बार आए, आके पूछ को हमारे घर में लेडीज लोगों को थोड़ा टॉर्चर कर को गए हो।
टॉर्चर किया?
हाँ नहीं थोड़ा, लेकिन नहीं वो भेजे तो तुम्हारे देखो तुम्हारे घर पूरा लोगों को लेके जा बताता और तुम्हारे बच्चे को भी लेके जा बताता। बोले ऐसा बोल दे, बताओ देखेंगे करूँ। इतना बोलने में कोई भी और बाद में नहीं। अब इसको श्रीकांत पुजारी लेके गए तब से मेरे को आया नहीं।
ओके, आपको कोर्ट ने कुछ समन्स भेजा है या पुलिस ने कुछ नोटिस भेजा है?
कुछ भी नहीं, नोटिस नहीं, समन्स ने कहा डायरेक्ट ले गए। मैं 6 महीना टाटा के जेल में था 92 में। 6 महीने के बाद अब बाहर में पूरा वो ये रिलीज करके आया मैं। आने के बाद अभी ये पहली बार मेरे को ये बोलने वाले पुलिस लोग, ऐसा हो रहा है।
भाजपा ने बोल रहा है ये सरकार एंटी हिंदू है, ये गवर्नमेंट एंटी हिंदू है। आपका हिसाब से ये गवर्नमेंट क्या है?
ये गवर्नमेंट तो देखो, ये पीछे वो यूरोपा महल भी था कांग्रेस में, उस टाइम से ये पहले हल्कड़गिरी वो चल गया, चालू चाहिए, ये क्या बंद नहीं हुआ। और अभी ये सिद्धरामैया है, ये सिद्धरामैया भी ऐसे चालू किया है, ऐसा चालू किया है। कांग्रेस लोग जो है पीछे हमारी को क्या है वो हम करने वाले, ऐसा इनका झगड़े में हमको कुछ नरम कर दे तो मैं क्या करूं बोलो। अभी 6 महीने 70 के 7 साल मेरे को, अभी 31 एज होने के बाद भी ये आपको मेरे को ऐसा टॉर्चर करते बोले तो हम किधर जाएंगे, किधर करना बोलो।
आपका हिसाब से ये पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड है?
ये पॉलिटिकल है, पॉलिटिकल और कुछ भी नहीं है। ये सिद्धरामैया का ये कुतंत्र है और कुछ नहीं। कांग्रेस लोगों का ये थोड़ा कुतंत्र है, ऐसा ले जाके। अभी राम मंदिर बन रहा है, थोड़ा ये कार सेवक राम सेवक लोगों को लोग जो बताए तो उधर क्या तो थोड़ा ही होता करके धांधल उठाने का एक काम चालू किया है। वो
10:30-9 बजे 4 पुलिस आए थे। 4 पुलिस आए थे, आके पूछा मैं, पूछे सर हम अब्बा पूछे ये कांतेश करके स्टेशन गए क्या कर को, कुछ क्या हुआ कर को बोले नहीं कुछ भी नहीं, कांतेश स्टेशन को गए करके नहीं। मैं कुछ ये 2 हाथ को ऑपरेशन हो हमको, क्या यहाँ करके बोलो करके बोले नहीं कुछ नहीं, आओ स्टेशन अभी ट्यूशन को है मैं नहीं। उनको वहाँ भी बोला मैं 2 हाथ में ऑपरेशन हो उनको, तो सुने नहीं, यहाँ नहीं कुछ भी नहीं होता, चल कोर्ट को गएंगे। कोर्ट को गए तो भी शाम तक सहेंगी करे तो जामीन दिए तो भी नहीं होता, आज नहीं होता, कल होता करके बोले थे। बाद में दस
कोर्ट, आपने कोर्ट को अप्रोच किया बेल के लिए?
हाँ करे थे सर, आज सुबह तक 1 बजे तक टाइम है सर।
एक बजे तक आपका लॉयर का साथ भी बात किया संजीव भड़स्कर ने, वो बोला 10:30 पे हम मूव कर रहा है बेल के लिए। पर आपको गवर्नमेंट का साथ क्या मांग है? व्हाट डू यू डिमांड फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ कर्नाटका?
मैं तो कुछ ये नहीं कि बोलता, उनका किसके पास भी विरोध नहीं है। हमारा क्या है, हमको मेरे फादर को छोड़े तो बस, अभी कुछ भी मैं बोल रहा नहीं है। मैं विरोध ये पक्ष है वो पक्ष है, कुछ भी बोल रहा नहीं मैं। क्या है, हमने करे सो गलती हुआ, तभी हो रहा था। हमें अभी पता हुआ नहीं था, तभी का ये केस है। अभी तभी तो केस सॉल्व करे थे हमें, अभी रीओपन करके बड़े ऑटोमेटिक रीओपन करके बड़े।
माँ जी आप क्या बोलना चाहता है? माँ जी
नहीं, हम पति को छोड़े तो अच्छा होता जी।
अब पति को
छोड़ना भी हमको आराम नहीं, ऑपरेशन हुआ हमको, छोड़े
क्या ऑपरेशन हुआ?
दोनों हाथों ऑपरेशन हुआ जी। वो छोड़े तो अच्छा होता अभी के हानों को जो।
आपको कुछ पॉलिटिकल से मतलब नहीं है?
नहीं नहीं नहीं, क्या भी नहीं,
कुछ भी मतलब नहीं है।
Joining us from Hubballi right now, getting us that ground report is my colleague Prajwal. Prajwal, you've spent a considerable amount of time to get both sides of the story. You've reached out to Hubballi police. Whether at all there has been a different statement than what they had put out yesterday, saying that this is a regular procedure. In fact, I'm given to understand you have the head of the state, the chief minister, basically defending this arrest that has actually taken place. For the benefit of our viewers, Prajwal, take us through both sides. What is it that the police have to say? And the family members we've already heard. So what's the truth behind this case?
You know, Shravan, after listening to both the sides as well, yes, there has been considerable amount of vandalism as well as damage which was reported in the 1992 Hubballi riots as well. But also, according to the FIR that was filed initially, the name of Shrikant Pujari in itself is missing. And this is what Republic's investigation is going ahead and revealing, because we also accessed the FIR from 1992, the charge sheet from 1993 as well. Because in the 1992 FIR, what is very surprising is the fact that from the accused number 1 to accused number 9, who has been named in the FIR, there is no name of Shrikant Pujari there. And later, they have also added 4 other names in the charge sheet, which was filed in 1993, 7 months later on. And there is the name of the accused Shrikant Pujari, along with 3 other names as well. But out of these 13 people now, Shravan, 4 people are already dead, meaning to state that there are only 9 people who are alive. And out of these 9 people, 3 people are on their deathbed as well. And we also spoke to Ramchandra Kalburgi as well. And he stated that my family is being threatened. They threatened to drag my children out, drag me to the police station as well. But this is not what I want to. And on the other side, I also went ahead and spoke to Renuka Sukumar, the Commissioner of Police for Hubballi, Dharwad. And it seems like there has been a type template for the police over here. And they are still parroting the way, stating that this was a routine check. And there have been already long pending cases too. And this was something which was bound to happen as well. But when we questioned why did they go ahead and act after 28 years on the open warrant which was issued, the only response that we could get was that due protocols are being followed and you need not question that. So this was the only reply that we have got from the Hubballi Dharwad Commissioner. And despite persisting on the fact whether it was politically motivated or not, she stated that this was done at the instructions of the Home Department. So who does the Home Department fall under in the state of Karnataka? It does fall under the Congress government over here. And Siddaramaiah now and again, who is the Chief Minister of Karnataka, has been stating that the guilty will be punished no matter what.
Well, in fact, Prajwal, I'll just request you to stay on with us as we are getting in some more breaking news. In fact, Chief Minister of Karnataka and also the Home Minister essentially defending this entire arrest that has been made by the Karnataka police. I'm just putting out the tweet that has been posted just a short while back, and this is what the Chief Minister of Karnataka says. Shrikant Pujari, who flaunts himself as a devotee of Rama and a car sevak in front of the public, is in fact a social miscreant in the eyes of the law. He is someone who uses religion as a shield to protect his criminal activities. If such individuals are not arrested and are allowed to roam freely, even Lord Ram cannot forgive this. In fact, he goes on, there's a long tweet that's been put out. We'll give you all the latest details. But he says that the law has been enforced and it has been done so in the interest of public. A quick response, 30 seconds response from you, Prajwal. The Chief Minister has completely defended the action of Karnataka police. If he is actually a social miscreant, what really stopped Siddaramaiah, who was also the Chief Minister for a brief period in the previous term, why did he not take any action when they were in power at that point in time?
Absolutely right, Shravan, because you have hit the nail on the head there. Because between 2013 to 2018, for a full period of 5 years, it was in fact Siddaramaiah who was the Chief Minister as well. And we also did go ahead and question about the criminal antecedents of Shrikant Pujari. Yes, no doubt there has been 16 petty cases which has been registered across various police stations in Hubballi, which also involves in the manufacture of illegal spirit as well. But apart from that, there has been no follow-up to those cases, and majority of them have already been shut down. And in Hubballi in itself, there are over 1,000 long pending cases, out of which till date only 37 have been solved. 37 of the recent arrests which was made recently in many of the cases, which also includes the case of the Kar Sevak too. So definitely some double standards that is being displayed out there by the Congress government, but Siddaramaiah brazenly continues to defend it.
Well, thank you very much, Prajwal, for getting us that ground report from Hubballi. You've spoken to Shrikant Pujari's family members who have once again hit out at the government, saying that this is nothing but a political vendetta. And as far as the government goes, a short while back, Chief Minister of Karnataka, Siddaramaiah, defended the action of his police, saying that law has taken its own course. A story that we have been tracking very closely. Shifting focus to another big breaking news now coming in. We're getting in details of the case that has been registered by the National Investigation Agency in the Karni Sena murder case. In fact, we're going to just get you the details and also the picture of the recoveries that have made. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier in the day, searches were carried out by the National Investigation Agency. We'll go full frame with the recovery pictures that have been accessed by Republic TV. These are details now coming in with regards to the investigation that has been carried out, where 31 locations where the searches were carried out. On your screens right now, in a short while from now, these were the pictures, arms and ammunitions that have been recovered from accused Ashok Kumar's residence during the search that was carried out by the National Investigation Agency. 31 locations in Haryana and Rajasthan where the raids were carried out. Arrests and another suspect in Karni Sena chief murder case. As per the investigation, NIA today carried out searches at 31 locations, which includes the houses of the accused persons and several suspects in Rajasthan and neighbouring state of Haryana. In fact, a key suspect, Ashok Kumar, was arrested from one of the locations following the recovery of several arms and ammunition from his premises in Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive. On the other side, news and updates continue.